Hello guys, as I, as I have mentioned in my previous video, today I plan to analyze two chip companies, Qualcomm and Nvidia. Hopefully my analysis will benefit you in your own investments. The first thing I'd like to talk about is the two companies' respective share price and their earnings. Now from Yahoo Finance, we can see that Qualcomm has beaten all four of its quarterly earnings, and the estimate for its first quarterly earning this year is greater than the estimate for its first quarterly earning last year. In terms of the share price, the company at the beginning of the pandemic was at 85 and it reached a peak of 182. In Nvidia's case, Nvidia has beaten the last three quarterly earnings from last year. It bet its first quarterly earning this year, and as you can see, the estimate for its second quarterly earning this year is greater than the estimate for its second quarterly earning last year. Now, in terms of the share price, the company started off at 59 and it reached a peak of 326. Moving on, let us now analyze their financial statements. I'd like to begin this analysis by going through Qualcomm first. Now, Qualcomm was once known for producing a large amount of chips for Apple. However, Qualcomm did have problems when Apple stopped using it as a supplier. The company needed to move into different areas of its market. They needed to diversify themselves. And from their financial statement, we can see that the company succeeded in this. This can be seen from their drastic increase in revenue from 10,500 to 27,000 and a subsequent increase in their income from 4,300 to 9,000. The next thing I'd like to talk about is their investment activity. Qualcomm in 2019, Qualcomm was at negative 806, and in 2021, it increased its investment activity to negative 3,300. This increase in investment is likely linked to the company's investment activity into the Snapdragon Metaverse Fund. Recently, the company announced that they will invest a further 100 million into this fund. So we can see that Qualcomm is attempting to further diversify itself, and it's attempting to expand its business by entering a new market. Qualcomm is also expanding its business by investing into the 5G and it's also researching automobile software. So again, the company is trying to move away from the mobile industry and is attempting to expand its reach in its respective market. Now, in terms of the financial activity, Qualcomm unfortunately has not changed its financial activity significantly. In 2019, financial activity was at negative 6,300, and in 2021, it was at negative 6,700. This is a small increase in financial activity, and it's unlikely that it will lead to a significant rise in the company's share price. The last thing worth mentioning is the company's current assets and current liabilities. Current assets rose from 16,000 to 20,000, and current liabilities rose from 8,900 to 11,000. Now, what I'd like to see is from Qualcomm, I'd like to see the company increase current assets more so that the difference between current assets and current liabilities is greater. So that the ratio between current assets and liabilities is further apart. This should improve their financial results. Now, let us move on to Nvidia. Nvidia has also experienced an increase in revenue and in income from 11,000 to 26,900 in 2022, and a rise in income from 4,000 to 9,700, which is always nice to see. Now, Nvidia has done a lot of investment. In 2019, their investment activity was at negative 4,000, and it reached a peak of negative 19,600 in 2021. Now, this drastic rise in investment activity is likely linked to the company's successful acquisition of Mellanox Technologies and then the purchase of Accelero. Nvidia is also investing in the metaverse market, just like Qualcomm. Nvidia has produced an early stage 3D design platform called Omniverse. So we can see that Nvidia also wants to expand its company by entering the new market, and it's also attempting to expand its reach in the current market it functions in by acquiring these two companies I mentioned earlier. And hopefully their investments succeed. Now, current assets have also experienced an increase from 10,500 to 28,000. Now, this increase in current assets is likely linked to the acquisition of Mellanox and Accelero, but it also might be linked to their metaverse investments. For now, we have to wait and see. We have to wait and see what the company does with its current assets. The company also increased its current liabilities from 1,300 to 4,300. Now this increase is mainly due to a drastic increase in accounts payable from 511 to 1,783. Now this drastic increase in accounts payable is not a bad thing. Accounts payable is good because it's essentially a loan without interest. So there's nothing to worry about. The company has also increased its long-term liabilities significantly. In 2019, it was at 2,500, and in 2022, it rose to 13,000. Now, this increase in current liabilities and in long-term liabilities indicates to me that the company has taken out loans and is planning to invest further into the market. How these investments will work out for Nvidia is yet to be determined. Finally, I'd like to talk about Nvidia's share price. Now, Nvidia's price earning is at 72.37. This is too high, in my opinion. The company needs to reduce its price earning ratio. Unfortunately, this is difficult to do. The company needs to increase its income by around 3 times in order to reduce the price earning ratio and keep the share price at the current level. As an example, Qualcomm, which operates in the same market as Nvidia, has only a price earning of 17.88. Now, the pandemic had the biggest impact on the chip industry. Initially, at the beginning of the pandemic, it was expected that chips would not be demanded and that the chip orders would be small. As a consequence, chip companies reduced their production of chips, believing that the demand would be small. However, what happened was the opposite. Demand rose drastically for chips. People were scared of public transportation, so the demand for cars increased drastically. And all modern cars need chips. Also, people stayed more at home, so the demand for electronics increased as well. All of these tools needed chips to function. So demand for chips drastically increased, and at the very same time, the supply of chips was reduced by the chip companies. So now what we can see from all the chip companies I've analyzed is that all of them are attempting to increase their supply. They're attempting to increase their production of chips so that they can take as much of the demand for chips for themselves, so that they can profit as much as possible from this high demand for chips. Now, it's not going to be easy to meet the demand because the military is going to get chip orders first, not the public. So in the short run, the shortage of chips will continue to prevail, but eventually chip companies will manage to produce more than enough chips for the consumers. The only question is which chip company will profit the most. We as investors have to figure this out. Now I'm going to place Nvidia in the OK section. The company financial statement is good. They are continually increasing their revenue and income. I'd like to see them increase their income even more so that their share price is maintained at the current level and so that their price earning ratio decreases. If the company successfully does this, I would lean to place Nvidia in the buy section. But for now, I am placing it in the OK section. Qualcomm, I'm going to place Qualcomm in the buy section. Qualcomm has a good financial statement. From the financial statement, it seems that they have successfully diversified themselves and they are no longer reliant on Apple as a consumer of their product. The only thing I'd like to see Qualcomm do is increase their current assets so that the difference between current assets and current liabilities is larger. Now, that is all I have to say about these two companies. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a like and subscribe. And in the next video, I plan to move into the gas and oil industry. See you next time.